Right now at 6, a KGW investigation into sex abuse in Oregon schools. What we've uncovered about its scope and why action can take years.
It's very difficult to get teachers to the point where their license is actually revoked.
Then, the high-profile Nike executives accused of gender discrimination and sexual harassment.
Plus, local reaction coming in to President Trump's order to shutter the Department of Education.
But ultimately, it's kids with disabilities and their family who's going to get stuck in between that rock and a hard place.
Also, later in sports, we're on the eve of the big dance for the Oregon men and women.
You got one shot to get this right.
It's like any other one for us.
A look ahead to the Ducks' Round 1 matchups.
Thanks for joining us. I'm David Malko.
And I'm Christine Pedawanich. Tonight, a new KGW investigation reveals the scope of teacher sexual abuse in Oregon. We found dozens of teachers had their licenses revoked for sexual violations against students in the last 6 years.
Let's bring in investigative reporter Evan Watson. Now, Evan, this goes much further than cases that have been in the headlines recently.
Yeah, cases like in St. Helens and Banks, where arrests sparked questions about teacher conduct across the state. In those cases, we found that many cases across the system don't reach the criminal justice system, but if reported, sexual abuse incidents are investigated by a state agency, the Teacher Standards and Practices Commission. We used public records to find how many teachers had their licenses pulled for sexual violations.
In St. Helens, Oregon, the school year has been shrouded by scandal.
It's been shocking because it's just more and more keeps coming out about it.
Gabe Barker and Anna Boyko are high school seniors. Barker's former choir teacher, Eric Stearns, faces 29 sexual abuse charges against 16 different people. Retired math teacher Mark Collins is accused of sexual abuse against 4 different students. St. Helens Superintendent Scott Stockwell resigned, and high school principal Katie Wagner is on leave. She's accused of failing to report the abuse.
It's kind of hard to people to trust their teachers.
But St. Helens, while in the headlines, only represents a fraction of educator abuse across Oregon.
It stands for a much larger problem. It's the tip of the iceberg.
To understand the scope, KGW reviewed hundreds of teacher disciplinary records, investigations, and sanctions uncovered by public records requests. We found 60 teachers in Oregon had their licenses revoked for sexual conduct with students over the last 6 years. Another 36 sexual conduct cases are under active investigation.
The numbers are higher than I thought they would be. It's really sad to hear how high they are, although not entirely surprising.
Amber Kinney and Peter Jancy are attorneys who specialize in child sexual abuse cases.
The number of revoked licenses doesn't reflect the victim count. And it doesn't reflect the predator count, because we know from our work in this area that it's very difficult to get teachers to the point where their license is actually revoked. And even if they are reported, they may not have discipline against them, and they may not lose their license.
Oregon's Teacher Standards and Practices Commission investigates reported abuse. The TSPC posts discipline orders online, often years after a case is first reported. Examples include a 17-year-old girl who said a Hillsborough teacher sent her explicit photos and videos, kissed her, touched her, and attempted to have sex with her. A Woodburn teacher who had sex with a student and paid the student $20,000 in exchange for a thumb drive of explicit photos he had sent. And a Portland student who said a teacher started grooming her when she was 15, texting, sending Snapchats, nude photos, and having phone sex over video. Each teacher declined to interview with TSPC, their licenses being revoked by default.
Grooming is the gateway to sexual abuse. Most cases start out where grooming occurs.
Kinney and Jancy say common patterns leading to sexual abuse include isolating kids and messaging with them privately on social media. TSPC classifies these as boundary violations.
You see that boundary violations can often lead to something more insidious?
Absolutely. I mean, almost every case, maybe every case I've ever handled, there was some indication earlier of boundary violations.
KGW found another 21 Oregon teachers who had their licenses revoked over the last 6 years for other sexual transgressions that didn't reach the point of sexual conduct. Most of these cases are related to grooming allegations. TSPC is currently investigating 116 boundaries cases. Jancy says it's a sign that adults need to speak up sooner.
When we see red flag behavior, we immediately intervene. We alert the experts so that they can do the proper investigations. We make sure that predators don't continue to have access to kids while investigations are going on. And also, we need to continue to reinforce to victims that this isn't their fault, they're not alone, and that things can get better.
Jancy says there's momentum. Children are increasingly willing to speak out about abuse. But is every concern reported?
I feel like kids haven't ever been afraid to actually speak up about anything, but it's been getting the right voice to speak up about it.
Oregon law makes individual school districts responsible for educator background checks. That includes contacting previous employers and checking for TSPC discipline orders. But state investigations can take years to complete. Very few failure to report cases are ever filed, and some abuse allegations are kept quiet.
If you have support, more people will be talking about something.
Jancy says Oregon should expand reporting requirements and tighten background checks within the state. There's no state record of how many concerning teachers have moved from one district to the next.
If you don't fix the culture and the system that those people are operating in, you're playing whack-a-mole. You're getting one predator and waiting for the next one to pop up.
Students want to be believed and supported, and for adults to be more vigilant.
It's hard to talk. So friends, teachers, all these people who say this, they need to talk.
Okay, so Evan, when it comes to teacher background checks that you mentioned, is anyone actually verifying that districts do their homework?
And also, can parents see active investigations or maybe complaints against their child's teacher?
Yeah, from the district to district level, it really is up to those administrators. So the verification, there's not too much when it looks at that as you make your way around the state. And for active investigations, those are not published, unlike these final orders that we referenced in this case. So you can't see something that's under investigation for a year or two, which leads to concerns. So even more reason maybe for some extra oversight from the district to district level, or more to come in on the state level.
I imagine there's some privacy concerns. Well, I learned a lot here, though.
Right.
Thanks, Evan, for digging into this. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Okay, and remember, you can always watch this investigation again on our TV app, KGW+. It's available for free on your smart TV.
Okay, let's talk about the weather now with a live look at Timberline now and a weather impact alert for the Cascades where a winter storm warning is in effect.
Our chief meteorologist, Matt Zaffino, is here now. How much snow are we talking about here, Matt?
Well, we've already picked about 4 to 6 inches of snow during the day today. See, it's snowing heavily at Timberline right now, 27 degrees. And it will keep snowing tonight and keep snowing during the day tomorrow. So the weather impact alert continues through tomorrow with more snow. It's going to get windy too, and that'll create low visibility at times in the passes. So make sure if you're driving up and over the Cascade passes, you have traction tires. If you don't have those, have change. It's always a good idea. Have some extra supplies in your vehicle just in case, right? So look at Doppler radar. That's all snow in the Cascades. Of course, been raining pretty steadily in the valleys all day long today. The Cascade pass cameras don't look that bad. We're beginning to see slush pile up at Government Camp where it's 33 degrees. Same thing down at Sandia Pass, still some bare pavement, but it's beginning to get slushy there and at Willamette Pass as well. So the roads are going to get snowier and get worse overnight tonight. And by the time it's all said and done later tomorrow night, we're looking at 9 to 18 inches of new snow from the passes up and above 5,000 feet, maybe even more than that. So this is another very heavy snowfall for the Cascades, which is why we called for the weather impact alert. The rainfall in the valleys, depending on where you are, has also been heavy. More on that and the warm up on the way next week. I think that'll put some smiles on a lot of spring breakers' faces. Guys?
Cannot wait for the warm up. Thank you, Matt.
In your headlines tonight, Tigard police need your help finding the driver of a truck after something flew off it and hit and injured an elderly woman. Authorities say the 86-year-old was walking a week ago Tuesday morning on the sidewalk along Southwest Durham Road near 108th. As a truck passed by, the metal part of a heavy-duty ratchet strap fell off and hit her. She suffered several broken bones and fractures. The driver did not stop. Authorities say it is not clear if they even knew what happened. Police think the truck is a flatbed with a white cab with a green logo or lettering on the side. Anyone with information should call Tigard Police.
There is a more than $30,000 reward out for tips leading to an arrest and conviction in a wolf poaching incident in Central Oregon. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service says someone illegally killed a federally protected gray wolf near Sisters back on March 10th. USFW is offering a $10,000 reward in addition to more than $20,000 from a group of conservation nonprofits. Tips can be reported to Oregon State Police.
Nearly 1,900 full and part-time faculty at the University of Oregon could be walking out of the classroom and hitting the picket lines before the end of the month. Today, the union representing UO faculty in Eugene announced its intention to strike. Negotiations have stretched on for a year, and barring any last-minute progress at the negotiating table, the union says a strike will begin March 31st. In a statement, university leaders say they are committed to negotiating a new contract and have made progress toward that goal.
The Portland Diamond Project wants $800 million in state bonds to help build a ballpark at Zidell Yards on the south waterfront. The 32,000-seat stadium's estimated cost, up to $2 billion. A 2003 law authorizes at most $150 million in bonds to go toward ballpark construction. That would be paid back. Supporters want to amend the law, though, to allow a larger bond, given Major League franchises' rise in value. Diamond Project leaders will pitch the proposal to the Senate Finance Committee next week.
Well, we are learning more this evening about a settled sexual harassment lawsuit against Nike after court documents recently made public named some high-profile executives accused of wrongdoing.
John Adams is live outside Nike headquarters in Beaverton. John, people who follow sneaker culture will definitely recognize one of the names on this list.
Christine and David, that's exactly right. Nike employee Tinker Hatfield, who is known for designing many of the Air Jordan models, has been named in connection to multiple allegations in this lawsuit. Now, a little background here. This lawsuit was originally filed in 2018 against Nike, detailing alleged instances of gender discrimination and sexual harassment. Specific allegations with redacted names became public in 2022. Then on Tuesday, the names of the accused were revealed for the first time after an order from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Several high-ranking Nike executives were named in the court documents, including Hatfield. He is accused of making sexually explicit comments to a female Nike employee, while another complaint says he was engaging in sexual acts with a lower-ranking employee on the Nike campus. We attempted to reach out multiple times to Hatfield's attorney today. We did not hear back, but they told the Oregonian that these claims were from anonymous surveys that were unsubstantiated and unverified and akin to reporting on gossip. The names of Hatfield and others became public after our media partners at the Portland Business Journal, along with the Oregonian and Business Insider, intervened in the case to get the names released. PBJ reporter Demi Lawrence spoke with us about these developments earlier today.
This isn't about taking sides. It's not necessarily even about like justice or retribution or anything. It's just making sure people know what's happening and what's been alleged and how this company that influences a lot of things within the city and region is responding to those allegations.
Now, Nike did release a statement to us today saying, in part, in 2018, Nike conducted a large-scale investigation in response to the reports received from employees, including those who responded to an anonymous employee-created survey, and took corrective action where appropriate. And again, this lawsuit has been settled, but the details of that settlement have not been released publicly. David and Christine, back to you.
John Adams in Beaverton tonight. Thank you, John.